Chicks dig the long ball. Hey everyone, my name's Shane and I'm a big baseball fan. Welcome to 3 Up, 3 Down. For today's video, we're talking home runs, home runs, home runs. There are two big time stories currently going on in Major League Baseball. The first is, can Albert Pujols hit 700 career home runs before he calls it a career here at the end of the season? The other one, and maybe the more controversial one, is, can Aaron Judge get to 62 home runs in a season? And if he does so, does that take him past Babe Ruth and Roger Maris as the top home run hitter in a single season in American League history? We're going to break down both these two stories, and I'll tell you my thoughts on where Judge and Pujols are going to fall in baseball history. So let's go. We'll kick it off with Albert Pujols and whether he's going to hit 700 career home runs. We take a look at the all-time career home run leader list right now. Barry Bonds is there at 762. Hank Aaron at 755. Babe Ruth at 714. The only three guys to hit 700 home runs career. Next up is Alex Rodriguez at 696. And as of recording, Albert Pujols just yesterday hit number 695. 5 home runs away. About 30 games left in the season. The race is on for Albert to see if he can get to 700 career home runs and become only the 4th player ever. Now, what we're talking about here in terms of 700, that would be a fantastic mark for Albert to get there, obviously joining the other 3. And there's some controversy, of course, with those other 3. The question is whether you believe Barry Bonds should be the legitimate home run king in Major League Baseball. For me personally, Barry Bonds 762 is the standard. You just can't erase Bonds from history. He is one of the top 3 offensive forces ever seen in Major League Baseball. We'll question the defense, but we'll forget about that for now. But Bonds played in an era that you can't forget. Yes, it was a steroid era. Yes, Major League Baseball wants to get it taken right out of context and forget it happened in history, but Major League Baseball allowed it to happen and did not crack down in the way it should have. That's where we get Bonds, McGwire, and Sosa in all these kinds of leaderboards, and we have to acknowledge that they exist. Now, I still think that Hank Aaron needs to be put up on a pedestal much higher than Bonds in terms of recognition, but Bonds is still king. We've seen it over different eras. It's so hard to compare, especially for Bonds, because we don't know the significance of how many Major League pitchers were involved in the steroid era while Bonds was involved with it as a hitter. We know players like Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte were dinged. And if you look at Pettitte in particular, you don't see a player physically who looked like he was involved with performance-enhancing drugs. But we know for a fact he was dinged for it later in his career. We know these type of things are still happening in Major League Baseball. We can't guarantee that it wasn't happening in Hank Aaron's era. We can't guarantee it wasn't happening in Babe Ruth's era. So I think you have to take into context all this information, and Bonds is still the all-time home run king. Now, Albert getting to 700 would be an absolute fantastic number. And it really sets things apart because Albert has always played in an era where steroids were tested for, and this would really put his number up there along with Aaron and Ruth. I think Pujols may be one of, if not the best right-handed hitter of all time, right there with Hank Aaron. Pujols has done it all through his career, and he's had a real resurgence. And the bigger number for me right now is, can he get to 696 or particularly 697 and get past A-Rod? That would really set him apart in that era. It becomes the face of the era rather than Alex Rodriguez, who we know was embroiled in controversy with all the steroids. So for me personally, let's see if Albert can get to that 697. If he gets to the 700, absolutely fantastic. He's already said he's not coming back to chase 700. This is his final season. And with the blaze of glory he's going out here in terms of the month of August and into September, the home runs he's putting up, what a fantastic way to really propel himself in the finish of his career. And I think if we get down to the last few days, it looks more and more like the Cardinals are going to clinch the NL Central early. Let's see if Albert gets a few extra days, a few extra games in there, and maybe a few extra fastballs down the middle to see if he can get to that 700 in his career. Albert Pujols is such a fantastic talent, so I'm really rooting for him to hit that 700 career home runs and join the greats of Bonds, Aaron, and Ruth. Now we can finally talk single season home run chase for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge just yesterday hit his number 53 home run, about 30 games left. He's right on pace with Roger Maris to try and eclipse his record of 61 home runs in one season in 1961, which currently stands as the American League home run record for most people. Some people out there still consider Babe Ruth's 60 home runs in a 154 game season as the standard for Major League Baseball's American League for a single season. Now we talk of all the greats and all the seasons. Barry Bonds' 73 home runs stands out as the lead. McGwire at 70, Sammy Sosa at 66, and on down the way until you get to the seventh best, Roger Maris at 61 and Babe Ruth at 60. I'm already on the record as saying I think Bonds' 73 is still the standard. I know that comes with a lot of controversy, but you can't ignore the steroid era. As I said, you can't ignore what pitchers are doing in this era. We know Eric Gagne, for example, one of the top closers in that era, was involved with steroids. There's just so much mystery and uncertainness that you just can't ignore what Bonds is doing. Plus, Bonds basically wasn't pitched to and still hit 73 home runs. I know he was involved in the Balco scandal. I know there's all the talk of human growth hormone. We just don't know the impact of what that did. But Bonds became Bonds. He was the guy, and you just knew a home run was coming. So for me, it's still Barry Bonds in terms of the Major League record. But given that we haven't had anybody outside of Bonds, McGwire, and Sosa, all coming from the National League, we still have to talk American League. Roger Maris, 1961, hit 61 home runs in a 162-game season. This is where the controversy comes in. At that time, there was an asterisk placed beside Maris because he hit 61 in a 162-game season, as opposed to Babe Ruth, who hit 60 home runs in a 154-game season. And there was so much controversy in the 60s over whether it should be Maris or Ruth. Over the years, it seems to have become less of a debate, and the standard has become Maris because that is a full season. Judge is at 53. He's currently on pace for 62, which would just barely eclipse Maris. We'll see how much Judge is pitched to down the stretch, especially with how poorly the Yankees lineup around him has been playing. I think the most important player in Judge's race for 62 is not actually going to be Judge himself, but is going to be Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton is finally back in the Yankees lineup. If he can stay healthy and start producing the way he was earlier in the year when the Yankees were really controlling the American League East, that will change the game for Judge. It will guarantee he's going to see more pitches, especially with Stanton hitting behind him and then not wanting to put Judge on base if Stanton really heats up. Josh Donaldson in this area has been very, very poor. TJ LeMay, who's been up and down all season. Andrew Benintendi is now hurt. He was hit by a pitch. So Judge really is not seeing a lot of protection around him in the lineup outside the potential of Stanton. So I think Stanton really has to step up here. Judge has also faced the fact that you're in a division race now, which really changes things. He isn't a player who's just going to swing for a home run, but we'll see where he's going to end up. Now the question is, if he gets only 61, does he tie Roger Maris as the best ever in American League? Well, for me, it's a season. A season is a season. The construction of Major League Baseball seasons have changed over the years. We've seen the jump from 154 to 162. Yes, if Aaron Judge ties Roger Maris, he is tying Roger Maris for the single season home run lead in the American League. If Judge gets to 62, yes, Judge is now the new holder of the American League record for home runs in a single season. This whole 154, 162 debate needs to go. Babe Ruth is Babe Ruth. He is the all-time king, the salt and the swat. We cannot ever dispute Ruth's place in history. He just did it in a different era that we have to accept that the game has changed in terms of games. Maris did it when the American League wasn't even playing the National League. Judge is now in an era where you're playing everybody, American League, National League, but you're playing your division more. So we're seeing those types of games more often. There are three different types of schedules in terms of length of games and even construction, where Judge is seeing pitchers from all different leagues. That's way different than Maris had, when he just focused on just American League pitchers. You weren't seeing as many Same with Ruth, only over 154 games. We've seen stadiums change so much. Of course, Ruth and Maris lived out of Yankee Stadium, and you can see Judge doing it as well. But the left-handed hitters had the advantage there of pulling the ball. Judge is just an absolute monster who can carry the ball out of any part of Yankee Stadium. So for me, we've seen so much change in schedule and style of play and all these different things in the game that if Judge gets to 62, he is the new American League single season home run leader and would take his place as the 7th best season in terms of home runs in Major League history. No, you don't need an asterisk. The best is still going to be Barry Bonds, 73, like I said. But obviously there is some consideration for Judge in that case, and you can make that argument for the best of all time. Not for me. It's still going to be Barry Bonds. But Aaron Judge is having one of the best seasons in Major League history, regardless of whether he gets to 60, 61, 62 home runs. He's had an incredible year, both offensively and defensively. And if the Yankees can hang on and finish in a playoff spot, I definitely think you're going to see Aaron Judge crowned as your American League MVP for his talents this season. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of another video. I greatly appreciate all your support, whether this is your first time here at 3 Up, 3 Down, or you're returning again. Thank you so much. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. We're on our way to 50 subscribers, trying to hit it before the end of the Major League season. And if we can get to 50 subscribers, we can start talking about a live video session during a game where I can take comments and questions along the way. If you want to comment down below, tell me below, do you think Albert Pujols is going to hit 700 career home runs? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Make sure you comment down below. I'll get back to you. I love talking baseball. So until next time, take care, everyone.